to me. Everything we are and used to be is buried and gone. Now it's my turn to speak.
The views expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Welcome to Entitled to Overcome, exploring solutions for life today. A presentation of Take 12 Recovery Radio. And now, here are your co-hosts, Dave Fleming and the Monty'man.
Sing it, Dave. Sing it.
Overcome.
That's the rockin' voice of Mr. Dave Fleming. Certified. Well, he's just certified. Welcome to Entitled.
We're not all here because we're not
all there. Yeah. Welcome to Entitled to Overcome, Solutions for Life.
To overcome.
Today there is a solution for life. And we're going to be talking about some stuff today. Before we get into any of that, though, so before I forget, before we do the stuff, coming up on September 7th at Marion Square Park in Salem is the Hands Across the Bridge. This is the 12th annual Hands Across the Bridge. We're going to have a DJ there, live music, funds, games. There's going to be a bridge, of course.
Funds, games, bridge.
There's going to be a bridge, and there's going to be hands. Wow. And we're going to be joining
we're all
hands
holding
across
up the
bridge. This is going to be from 2 to 7 p.m., but at 5 o'clock is the main event where attendees will walk over the Marion Street Bridge to honor those in recovery, to remember those lost to addictions and mental health challenges in the past year.
That reminds me of a joke, right?
Uh-oh. No.
Why did the addicts cross the bridge?
Why?
I don't know, because they were told to.
They were told. Or they were told not to, and so they did it. Anyway. That's September 7th. Dave, you'll be in Washington, right? Maybe.
Unless I got to work.
Yeah. So anyway, the admission to that is free, so come on out if you're in the area. It's big doings out there, and we'll have our Take 12 radio booth, and you can meet the Monty'man and whoever else decides to join me out there. So there's that there. So I've got, this is, you've probably heard of this. For our icebreaker, I've got some juicy stuff for you. So let's.
I got one today.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, goody. So we better do our little intro here. What time is it? And the clock is ticking.
Tick-tock.
It's time for Dave and Monty's Icebreaker!
Time is flying by.
Okay, what do you got, Dave? Let's see what you got.
Well, yeah. So, I don't even know what to say on this one.
Oh, no.
So, I'm driving home yesterday.
Yeah?
Right, down
99?
99.
Right.
Otherwise known as, Pacific Boulevard?
Sure.
And I'm heading, I'm going through Tangent, and heading over to get on 34 and head home. And coming the opposite direction is this guy in I think it was a Toyota.
Yeah?
Had no front windshield.
Well, that's not unusual around here.
I was just like, man. I said, it was a little...
And no helmet or glasses on, right?
No, he was kind of looking down, like... he looked like he was trying to dodge some of the wind over the top of the steering wheel when he was driving.
He had someplace to get to,
but
bud.
yeah, it's, I thought to myself, only in Oregon. But
Right.
Then I thought about it. I said, well, back in the day, I might have done. I don't know if I would have done that, but I've. When you're short of funds,
You're short of funds, but you still
you
got to
do
get.
what you got to do to get to where you got to go.
That's
right?
true.
And maybe he was taking it. I thought about it. I was thinking about it this morning on the way over here. I thought, well, maybe he was, on his way to take it into the shop.
Or not.
Well, it just to kind of tell
be.
the other part of the,
Yeah.
the picture that I saw is it looked like he was in a car accident.
Oh,
And the front was smashed, the hood was smashed,
right.
and the hood probably looked like it had flipped up and smashed the windshield.
Yeah.
And that's
What happened?
yeah.
Yeah,
So they had
right.
the hood was tied down in the front.
So it probably wasn't because of choice.
Well, you had to drive the thing,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like I said, maybe he was taking it to the
Could
shop.
be. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
But he could have just as well been heading to the
the dope man's house.
Well, there is a recreational marijuana shop.
Oh yeah, the Tangent Pharmacy,
Right there,
right
so,
there. Yeah, right next to the
I
saloon.
thought, well, maybe he's going there.
Well, speaking of pharmacies,
We go to any limits, right?
any limits, any lengths? Well, yeah,
To get to sobriety or addiction, whatever.
dude. I walked from Albany, Oregon, to the other side of Salem and back one time. I never did find any drugs, but I thought maybe if I walked, I could find some. I still have a scar on my foot from the blister that was created to remind me of the lengths I would go to for insanity, right?
Right.
So, well, that's interesting. I remember I always wanted one of those old Army Jeeps, the old kind where the windshield would actually fold down onto the hood.
Yeah, the Willies.
Yeah, so you could drive that without any windshield at all. That's your ultimate convertible. So this is, have you heard of the International Church of Cannabis? Have you heard of this?
No, but nothing surprises me.
The Church of Pot, that's what I like to call it, COP. Well, the International Church of Cannabis is now open to the public Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 6 p.m. This is in none other than Colorado. There is no consumption of cannabis allowed during these hours, but, Dave, you may come and tour the breathtaking property and take as many pictures as you like. However, without written consent. However, if you're interested in attending an outside service, you may sign up for a private tour during other hours, if you know what I mean.
No.
Members of the International Church of Cannabis
Please
are
explain.
They're known as elevationists. They believe in elevating themselves. So these tours
higher.
that puts a whole new spin on Colorado Rocky Mountain High. So,
So is there? Do they play? Is there worship music? Grateful Dead.
probably that and John Denver songs. I don't know, but they these tours that you can go on that are not
Sorry, Jerry.
during regular hours. Those are where they meditate by consuming the sacred flower, they call it. Through ritual guided spiritual practice, church members use the sacred flower to reveal the best version of self, discover a creative voice, and enrich their community with the fruits of their creativity. Unlike other belief systems, there is no need to convert to elevationism. It claims no divine law or doctrine and no authorization or structure. The International Church of Cannabis mission is to offer a home to adults everywhere who are looking to create the best version of themselves by way of the sacred plant. Our life stance is that an individual's spiritual journey and search for meaning is one of self-discovery that can be accelerated with ritual cannabis use. Elevationists claim no divine authority nor authoritarianism or structure. Therefore, those of all religions and cultural backgrounds are welcome to visit our chapel and take part in our celebrations. This list goes on and on. I was going to give you...
I'm confused.
I was going to give you the website, but I'm not even going to do that.
The sacred flower. The holy flower.
So somebody asked, isn't this just an excuse to smoke weed? And their answer is, this is Denver. We can all legally consume cannabis here already. No, all we are doing is claiming our constitutional right to freely practice our religion. Or not pay taxes on your building is what you mean.
So what are the guidelines to actually creating a religion?
I don't know. You are when you say you are. But see, now they want people to be able to express themselves, but you have to be an adult to do that. So minors are excluded. That's offensive to me.
Well,
you're not letting my child experience the spiritual
choice.
Walk. What is the meaning of life? It says, I have no idea what the meaning of life is, but I would guess it is to find your own meaning. An elevationist, I would say that your spiritual journey to find your meaning may be accelerated by using the sacrament of cannabis. Life has no ultimate meaning that can be understood outside of our own terribly short time on this planet. We can only live the best that we can, enjoy the most, love the most, and be the most. Because we will all die, we exist only in memory.
And everyone gets a trophy.
Why should anybody take you seriously? One person wrote. Should we be taken as seriously as the folks who believe that Jonah lived in the belly of a giant fish, or that the wife of Lot turned into a pillar of salt? Isn't it interesting who they attack here? They don't attack Native American culture. They don't attack Buddhism. They don't attack the Muslims. They attack the Christian faith or the Jewish faith. That's who they attack, the Bible. They don't use any other...
Because that's the
right?
The most what's the word I'm trying to find here? So that's the one we hear about the most, right?
Right.
That's the one they talk about the most. That's the one that they make movies about.
Sure.
So there's all kinds of different stories.
Well, those other things don't pose a threat.
Well, they don't talk about it as much. That's the difference. They don't know anything about the other religions, basically, so that's why they don't talk about it.
Do you believe in God, it says? Well, elevationists are on their own spiritual journey. Some believe in the God of Abraham. Some do not. Generally, as a group, we refer to a universal creative force and leave it up to the individual to decide what that means.
Is that Abraham Smith?
Maybe.
I think I know that guy.
Do you allow kids in the church? No, we do not allow anyone under 21 while the sacrament is being burned.
Yeah, right.
There is a significant scientific evidence that suggests that cannabis is not appropriate for the adolescent mind. Really? And the law says that 21 is the minimum age for the consumption of alcohol and cannabis, which we consider to be appropriate. Children are not allowed in our church during consumption.
But they can stand outside and smoke.
Oh, brother. So that's and I guess if you are unfortunate enough to visit the website, they have a video of how they painted the inside of this thing, and it's done really well. But it's all psychedelic rainbow stuff. You know, the stuff that when we used to sit in our rooms with the black light on and stare at the melting faces and all that kind of, it's all.
Don't include me in that.
I am including you.
Don't
you know
include
exactly
me in
what I'm
that.
talking about.
I did not partake in those things.
There's a program for liars, I think it's probably a 25-step program.
Marijuana did not do anything for me, so.
No, it didn't do anything. I consumed it, but it was like a last-ditch effort to change the way I was feeling because I kind of felt sick, actually. I'd end up sitting in the corner like a piece of lettuce, just worthless. Everybody wanted to go do stuff, not me, man. I was Mr. Go-Go chemical guy.
I was like, give me a pillow.
Yeah.
There's one time, and it was just because probably the state of mind we were in even
Right.
beforehand. Me and a buddy, we were blessed with some marijuana.
Yeah. Blessed by it. Yeah. Yeah. God gave
We
it
had
to me.
stuck some in a shoebox and put it in the closet and forgot about it for a
Right.
while. Well, we pulled it out, and one day we sat around. We were listening to Rush, smoking.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we couldn't stop laughing. We laughed for like 6 hours straight. I couldn't, just being dorks.
Right.
But that's the only time I ever was
Enjoyed it.
got any enjoyment out of. I tried acid a couple times, and I was with people that were jerks, and so I didn't really have the most
a good
enjoyable
experience.
experience. But I never did the tripping out on black lights. I mean, the closest I got to any of that was when I was sober and went to the planetarium.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, once I discovered the go chemical, I didn't have
yeah.
time to sit around and, meditate on whatever, the Beatles songs and stuff like that. I was out doing stuff, man. I had things to do. I had cars to tear apart, rooms to paint, houses to build, none of which ever got completed. But I had an agenda, man. I had all that stuff to do. I had people to visit and
Yeah. I was not the guy that was hiding out in the basement playing video games,
Right.
smoking pot at age 40.
And so anyway, there you go. International Church of Cannabis, and of course it's in Denver. So
Surprised they don't change the name of the town to Cannabis.
I really am. But at least they're being honest. They want to claim their right to be stoned in public. There's so many people that are saying, "Oh, they're claiming all sorts of other things." These guys are just coming out and saying, "Look, we just want to be inebriated and change the way we're feeling by this natural plant, be able to walk around stoned."
Well,
let's just being honest about it.
They got smart about it, I guess, if you want to look at it this way, is like, because you can't really be intoxicated in public. I mean, there's laws against that. You can't be drunk in public.
Right.
So, I mean, I've seen people that are high off their gourd on marijuana in public and, gotten arrested. They're not, just because it's
legal, you're not supposed to be not able to.
So they just bought some land and then started a church and saying, "Now come on my land and you can smoke all you want out here."
And so as long as they don't do it during
in the church
during the certain hours, you can come and do it off hours. Now it's the same building, it's the same place, all that, but they're just getting around it by wording and it's been said, the news report I read on it said that it's the first public place where this is being allowed.
Well, you know what? It won't last very long. You know why?
Why?
Because people that their mind is altered, mess things up.
Yeah,
they don't follow the rules.
Do tell.
And there'll be somebody that are on the other side of that's going to be looking at trying to trip them up.
Yeah,
and so
it'll happen.
There's always somebody. There's always at least one person that'll mess it up for the rest.
There's always a party pooper.
Well, look at that. Whatever his name was, Harash or whatever, out in
look
what happened to that deal. It was like this big thing. It was going to change the world, and then it was just another cult.
Yeah,
all about sex and drugs and meditation.
Meditation, baby. All right, well, that's the icebreaker for this week. Yay! All right, we'll be back with the topic.
Squirrel!
Right after this. Don't go away.
Overcome. When you're a prisoner.
Wait, what? It's almost time? It sure is for the 7th Annual Hope Fest, Arizona. Saturday, September 29th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the Yavapai County Courthouse Plaza in beautiful downtown Prescott, Arizona. Live music, local and national recording artists, guest speakers, free family fun zone, car and motorcycle show, the Hopesters Community Resource Fair, food vendors, and so much more. And headlining the music this year, it's Selah. That's the 7th Annual Hope Fest, Arizona, Saturday, September 29th from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Visit www.hopefest.az.com.
And now, back to more Solutions for Life today with Dave Fleming and the Monty'man.
What are you laughing about?
Oh, Lord.
Are you reading more about the Church of Cannabis?
The thing about what's up with the whole 420 thing?
Oh, yeah, right. Right, that was hilarious.
I was like, really? How stoned really are you?
Oh, gosh.
They're mixing up Christianity and paganism.
Right. Well, they do have a point. Have you ever read
the
Christian Paganism, the book?
Well, the Christians didn't take the eggs and the rabbits and incorporate that into Easter. It was the shop owners and people that wanted to make money off
but
of.
see, we have taken pagan rituals and turned them into Christian holidays. We have done that in some instances, but they're doing that blanket thing where they're saying, okay, this is a Christian nation, and look what the nation has done. See, they don't even know what they're talking about. So that's because they're stoned, dude.
Put down the bong.
All right, the topic
brings a new meaning to flower power, huh?
Right, it does, doesn't it?
Right on, dude.
So the question was posed.
Hey, it's me, Dave.
Dave.
It's me, Dave.
Dave's not here.
Open the door. It's me, Dave.
Who?
Sorry.
What happened to the simple,
just had to do that.
The simple stoner? What happened to the simple stoner? Oh, boy, oh, boy. So the question was posed, what have you learned from your significant other while in recovery? And one guy wrote, to not have a significant other. That's what I've learned. I suppose. I don't think that's what we were looking for, but what can I say? What have you learned, Dave, from your significant other, from your wife?
Oh, wow. I learned a lot of things. Probably some of the things that I probably should have learned sooner. But,
Sure.
You know, one of the things the biggest thing that stands out, and this was after I got sober and saved and was working on myself for a while. But
Yeah.
me and my wife spent some time apart just because I needed to get my act together. And after we got back together, like the first year, I think we were back together, was a little tricky because my wife still, she was conditioned to act or react to me in my old self.
Gotcha.
As my old self was, right?
Oh, so the new guy was new to her.
So the new guy didn't react or didn't act
Yeah.
the same. So when things, if she said something, I didn't react in the same way that I did before.
You bet.
And so some things change. But part of the old me, and as I'm in this process, I'm working on myself, and I think I was doing the Love Dare, from the movie Fireproof.
Fireproof, yeah.
And so I was doing the Love Dare. I think that was one time when I was doing it myself. But anyway, so there's some things in there that you do on a daily basis, and they kind of stack on each other. And one of them, I can't remember exactly what day it was or what the reading was basically something to the fact that you don't always have to prove that you're right.
Mm.
And so in conversations, and I don't know how many of you out there have been, with your wife or significant other, either currently or in the past, sometimes you get in these arguments and you feel like you're right and they feel like they're right, and you both are just like no one's giving in.
Yeah.
Right. And
I've been
so
there.
you start, sometimes people start bringing things up from the past or saying hurtful things, not intentionally, but it's like, I don't have any more ammo and I want them to shut the hell up.
Right.
I mean, basically, and
That's the truth.
I'm not saying that, but it's like, no,
Yeah.
you're wrong. I'm right. Shut the hell up and listen to what I'm saying.
Yep.
Right. That's kind of, I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, that's
You pinned it, buddy.
right. And
You did.
so as when God got a hold of me and was working my life, the only thing you have to change is everything. So I thought about those things and I was like, no, I really don't. I don't need to prove that I'm right. I mean, even if I am right, why do I need to prove that I'm right?
So why did you feel like you needed to prove you were right?
I don't know, man. I think it was more out of fear than anything else. And it didn't have
think you're right.
nothing to do with her.
Right. I think you're right. I
It
think
was
it's
like
fear
this-
of loss of control.
It was
fear-
this
yeah.
whole thing that I grew up with
Yeah.
in my life about not having any control, not having any say, always being told or feeling like you're being told that you're wrong about everything, no matter what it is. Even if you were right, you're getting told by an adult or somebody that you look up to or has power over you that you're wrong, you're doing the wrong thing, you're saying the wrong thing, whatever it is.
So you had to make up for that.
And so I think in life, as I went through being on my own and trying to, do what I call on-the-job training,
Right.
right? Learning as you go. I had to be the best at whatever I was doing. And so, if someone was telling me that, something that I knew was wrong, now maybe I am right and they're wrong. And so I gotta prove it to them,
Yeah.
or I'm proving it more to myself. Right. Like, 'cause,
Right.
hey, look at me, appreciate me for my knowledge. I'm a smart guy. So you should listen to what I say and appreciate me. I mean, that's basically what I'm saying. But I'm doing it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
I'm trying to force people to accept what I'm saying as gospel and shut the hell up, not question me.
And I think a lot of people that may be listening right now, if they'd be honest, because I'll be the first to raise my hand, that is so accurate. I think we are so like that.
Right. And I over the years I learned a few things along the way from smarter people than me. And one of those things was you can think whatever you want, but it matters what you say or what you do with that. And so putting all these things together, it's like, okay, when I'm in recovery and I feel like I got to prove, or I start going down that road where I got to prove that I'm right.
Right.
I have to question, what are my motives? Why do I need to prove that I'm right? Is it going to, what is it going to do in this situation? Because
To what end?
9 times out of 10, I am going to have to hurt that other person emotionally.
Yeah.
Through this interaction. And so I don't want to do that. So there's no reason why I have to prove it. Kind of that.
Yeah.
It's okay to, agree to disagree kind of thing.
Right.
So it's a hard thing, though, to put into practice with people that aren't used to doing it that way.
Sure.
Right. And trying to train yourself to do that. So that's kind of how that started, as I would think about, if I started getting an argument, because that first year was, there was times where, I got so frustrated and so angry that I'm trying to change. I can't make anybody else change. So I have to do things. I have to change the way that I do things. When I do that, then everything else changes. And so in that process of someone's fighting against me that I don't really want to have, I'm trying not to control anymore, or trying not to, be that person. I just have to kind of bite my tongue because I have to process, what is it about the situation that I need to, that I can change, or what can I change in myself? And there's been times where I just wanted to, scream and throw the couch out the front window. But instead I got, I said, I'm going to go for a walk, and I'd go pace up and down the trail next to my house, calling my sponsor, going, ah,
Right.
right. What do I
Right.
do? And then I look at my watch. I'm like, oh, there's a meeting in like 5 minutes. I'm out of here. Bye.
Yeah.
So I'd go catch a meeting and kind of vent, whatever frustration. I'd be good to go, and then I'd come home and everything would be fine. But I had to practice, not trying to have things my way. That whole attitude of, if everybody would just do things my way, everything would be fine.
Sure.
Well, I know that doesn't work. So I got to change that, and sometimes it's hard to do that.
So when you were on your own, and it was just you, Dave, and the bottle or whatever, and it was just, you could do what you wanted to do, or you thought you could, that whole dynamic changes. All of a sudden you're in a relationship, and people are going to learn different stuff once somebody else comes in their life, whether they like it or not.
Right.
And they're either going to respond in a way that is going to be beneficial to both parties, or it's going to be destructive. And somewhere in the mess and figuring that out, we learn different stuff.
Well, and I had a period of time where me and my wife separated that I needed, looking back at it now, I needed to do that to work on myself.
Right.
Because there's times where I was by myself, but I'm not drinking. I'm in recovery. I'm learning how to live life on life's terms and all that other stuff. And so
that's different.
Through all the interactions with people, places, and things, I'm learning how to deal with things differently. I'm learning to talk to people differently. I'm learning to ask for help. And so all of that was like preparing me for the time when me and my wife, when God put me and my wife together. So that because I knew there was going to be some pushback, just because, you can't help it. And I think when we got back together, I had I don't know, it's probably 6 years.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
No, 4.
4? That's a good bit of time to be separated.
And it's still, there was still some of that waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of thing. Even though,
on her part?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it had been 4 years.
Yeah.
But she hadn't been around me every day. We saw each other a couple times a week, and we lived like a mile or two apart.
Dave, I'm going to be celebrating 21 years on September 2nd, and I still have in-laws that are waiting for the foot to drop or the shoe to drop. They're still waiting, man. It's almost like they're waiting like angry wolves at the gate.
They're all pacing.
Yeah, they're pacing,
going
going
back and forth. Yeah.
Just wait until because he's going to do it again.
I don't got time for those people. Right?
I don't either.
I just pray for them.
And so
that's their deal.
When people are like that in your life, you just gotta keep going because they're going to be there. They just are.
Well, and so I had a lot of different circumstances happen over the years that taught me about communicating differently and how to be tolerant and helpful to other people. And so, when you're in a relationship with a significant other, it brings on a whole different dynamic, right? Because things are closer, or sometimes you tend to get away with stuff or do stuff that you wouldn't normally do with anybody else because it's you're so in tune and you're connected and all that stuff. And sometimes the old, you only hurt the ones you love because they're the ones that know how to pick at your bones. But so I knew all of this stuff going in when we got back together. I knew that this was going to happen. I didn't know how long it was going to take. But I knew that there was going to be a period of time that I was going to have to go through. My wife was still unsure,
right? Because
she hadn't been around me, and so through that process, I started processing it. Like when those things happened, I don't have to prove that I'm right? Mm-hmm. Because I love my wife, and we want to learn how to communicate differently, and so I'm the one that has to take charge of the situation. I'm the one that has to do things differently and for our family dynamic to change. And so I had that, it was a cognitive of that the whole time. That was kind of the forefront of everything that I did. When I, going to work, if my wife was already gone to work, I'd send her a text and say, hey, I'm heading out to work. Let her know when I got to work. When I left, I'd say, hey, I'm heading home. Do you need anything from the store? right? So
Right.
there's accountability.
Right.
Where before, it was like I didn't tell anybody anything that I was doing, where I was going to be, when I was going to be there, or anything, because I wanted to keep everybody on their toes, because I still, at some level, didn't trust anybody. For whatever reason, I was still stuck. This was while I was in my addiction. I didn't trust anybody. And so if nobody really knows what I'm doing or where I'm at or how much money I got or, whatever is going on, then I have the upper hand. Right?
Sure.
So that I can just show up. Because if everyone's on the up and up, I can just show up anywhere, anytime, and everything will be cool. But if it's not, then they're busted. Right? And so I lived that way for a long time, and it was because of stuff from the past. And, never really had any, problems. The only problem I had was stress on my own life and the stress that I caused everybody else because they were, my wife was almost, she had some struggle with some abandonment issues over different things over the years. And so that just kind of amplified that abandonment issue because she don't even know if I'm coming home or not.
Right.
Right. So when I got into recovery and we got back together, that was one of the things that I had to make sure that I knew that I needed to do to make sure that she felt safe and comforted. And so there was no, I didn't want to put any undue stress on her. So, I mean, those are the things that I learned about her over the years that I changed my behavior in order to make her life better. Right.
Right.
To make it easier. Cause she's my partner. The other thing that happened probably around that same time is, how you get home from work, right? Because part of that relationship building thing was like, you want to talk to your significant other and say, hey, how was your day?
Right.
Tell me about your day. Right. Well, most guys, if they're going to be honest, right, we're problem solvers.
Yeah.
So whatever the issue is,
we want to fix whatever happened to them.
This person at work, they did this and they said this and right? So you're formulating a plan on how to fix.
Boy, guilty.
This is what you should do, right?
Guilty as charged.
And so this is how our conversations typically went for years, right? And so getting into recovery and we're starting to change our relationship dynamics, and we're, everything is getting better. And one day my wife says, you don't always have to fix everything. Sometimes I just want you to listen.
Right.
I'm just like,
I got that too.
Boom.
That happened to me too.
Right.
And I, for whatever reason, Marcia didn't tell me that for a while.
Right.
Because I guess I thought that I thought that she wanted me to give her a solution. I really thought that.
That comes from poor communication skills, right?
Right. She never said that.
We all just assumed. They assumed certain things from us, and we assumed certain things from them.
She just wanted to unload a little bit.
Right.
She actually was fine.
Right.
She had left the problem at work as far as like when she go back to work the next day, she's fine with the person. She just needed to dump, and she didn't need me to spread the garbage around and try to figure out where the diamonds were. She just didn't need that. There's a video of a guy and a gal, and she's talking to her husband, to a young couple, and she's just had a horrible day, and he's trying to fix everything, and the camera pulls back, and there's a nail in her head, and he's trying to tell her how to get the nail out of her head. She just wants to talk, and he doesn't even. It's just crazy,
right? I used to get well, I just, if I can't talk to you, then who do I have to talk to?
Right.
Right. And so now, once I'm hearing this, the only just listen. All this other stuff is coming back at me too at the same time, and I'm like, whoa, gee, I guess that makes sense now.
Well, we think the male brain, and please don't misunderstand, ladies. This is just a scientific fact. The male brain tends to think logically. The female brain tends to think emotionally, and together they work together very well. That's why we do well as a team. And so the men need to be a little bit more emotional. The women need to be a little more logical. But we, in our logical brain, we shoot ourselves in the foot, because I'm looking at Marcia going, logically, why wouldn't you want my advice? I know what I'm talking about. I can fix this. And
Right.
she's like, emotionally, I just need you to listen, and I'm good. I'm good. I don't need all your truths and all this. I don't need it. And I'm like, well, why wouldn't you want it?
Right. But see, here's something that I figured out, right? And I'll let you borrow this.
Okay.
And anybody else out there that wants to borrow this. So while you're in that conversation, right, honey, how was your day?
Right.
And they're the machine fell apart and blah 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 whatever. So you're listening and you're trying to do a little reflection, right?
Right.
So that she knows you're doing some active listening, right?
Right.
And you're
Honey, that must have hurt.
you're
Dad.
hearing
Yeah.
what she's saying, right?
Right.
Not only that, but at the same time, since we can multitask pretty well sometimes,
Yeah, at least we think we can.
right? We formulate the answer,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
This is how you fix it,
Right.
right?
That's what we're doing.
And
yeah.
if that don't work, then you can try this. And so then we take that and we file it. We don't ever say anything, but we file it away in the filing cabinet in case she comes and asks, right? And we say, honey, if you need help or if you need anything, let me know, right? So we're giving them permission to ask us for a solution,
Right.
and we have the solution already stored away in the filing cabinet, but we don't have to.
We don't
have to say it right then.
we don't have to fix it that day. Yeah. That's good. So they know it's there, but we're not bashing them with it. But because sometimes they already know the solution too. They just need
Right.
to vent. And that's good. That's good. That's good advice.
I think. Well, if we communicate differently, in a more equal way. We empower each other,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I heard something. I don't know why this popped in my head, but I was watching the news the other day, and they're talking about the Benton County radio and how I don't know if it was just for the one day or if it was for the whole rodeo, but it was all women.
Oh.
And
okay.
this one girl who I think she was a bull or calf roper.
Yeah.
She said she started talking like it was a surprise that women can do this. Yes,
Right.
I can do this.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else. And I'm
Yeah.
like, who told you couldn't?
Right.
I'm thinking to myself, I'd love to help empower women, and I just don't understand where this other side of it comes
Well,
in.
and
I know this is a squirrel moment here.
Yeah, but I know
But
what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
you know what I'm saying? Is like, who told you that you couldn't do
because
those
there are
things?
people that have. And I'm like you. I'm like, well, of course you can.
Right.
I mean, listen, my wife can do things administratively that I couldn't do in a million years. I am, and one of them's financial.
Right.
I am horrible. She goes, can I show you the bills? I'm going, no, I know you do this well. My little bipolar brain just goes all sorts of, I can't do it. She is much more capable of doing that stuff. And yet there's this idea that, well, the true business person is really a man. He knows how to organize. I don't know.
I don't know where that comes from.
I don't either, because I'll tell you what, my wife is much better at that stuff than I am. And women women do amazing things in this country, in this world.
And they as far as I'm concerned, they always have.
Always have. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if it's our egos or what it is, society, or I think that's changing though. So you have actually a devotional thing that you sent me. And what I got out of it was pay attention. Pay attention to what is my wife really saying? What is my best friend really saying? What is my business partner really saying?
Well, it doesn't even have to even go that deep. I mean, if you can just, how well do you know them, right? I think that's what the first part of the reading says. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
how well do you know them? Do you know what their favorite color is? Can you remember when their birthday is? Do you remember when your wedding anniversary is?
Are you paying attention?
Right? Are you
Yeah.
paying attention?
Yeah.
Are you listening?
Yeah.
Take the cotton out of your ears and stick them in your mouth, as they say, right? And I think if we get to know our partners, we may be surprised. And just from my observations, it seems like there's a lot of men out there, and I'm ashamed to say this. Well, I'm not ashamed, but it hurts me to see this, is that a lot of men don't really. It isn't the thing that motivates them. So they don't, the little details about stuff, they don't remember those things because it's not what they care about. And I don't know, I may just be a weirdo.
No, I think
Because I'm not into, like, everything isn't about sports.
Yeah,
So I mean, I'm kind of outside of the box on that.
I am too. I'm not a sports guy. I'm not a hunter. I don't work on cars or any of that kind of stuff. So I feel kind of left out when it comes to men's ministry things. But there was something in this article that you sent me that really hit home with me. And I'll just reflect it out of something that I experienced with my wife early in our marriage. So one of the things that Marcia feels is very important to her is when you leave a room, turn off the light. She grew up that way. She grew up with a large family, right? I grew up an only child, so it's a little different. So her dynamic's a little different. So because kids were constantly turning the lights on and they lived really just at the poverty level, it was very important to them that they didn't spend any more money than they had to. So her dad was very adamant about, you leave a room, you turn off the light. So she's always grown up with that. So I would leave the bathroom. Now I'm going right back in 5 minutes. So my logic brain says, why turn off the light? I'm going right back in. But it's important to her that I turn off the light. And so I'm thinking, well, this is silly, right? That's my, callous attitude. Well, that's silly, honey. Or actually, if I be truthful, well, that's stupid. Well, how shaming and demeaning is that to say to your wife or your significant other? Well, that's just a stupid idea. And then I learned that even if it was stupid, that's not the point.
Right.
If it's important to her, then it should be important to me, regardless of how I feel about it. So now I make sure I turn off the light. And that, see, for a woman, I know this sounds weird, guys, but that's romantic to them. When the guy does the dishes, they go, that really, you're sexy when you do that. They're not talking about the physical attraction. They're talking about the fact that you've taken what's important to them and made it a priority for you because you love them.
Right.
Regardless how you feel.
There's one of the days in the Love Dare talks about doing something for your significant other that you wouldn't normally do, or something around. I'm probably paraphrasing.
Right.
So I mean, if you guys have come up together with, your tasks are taking out the garbage and mowing the lawn, and hers is doing the dishes and whatever, cleaning the bathroom.
Yeah.
So do something that's going to help her out.
That's out of your wheelhouse.
So do your thing, what you normally do,
and then clean the bathroom too.
I mean, ideally, you want to pick something that you enjoy. You enjoy doing that's your compromising,
right?
You're okay with. But I mean, things like whatever it is, man. Those and we all know those, what we call whatever, the honey-do list, whatever. There's always those things that there's stuff that your wife wants you to get done around the house.
Yep.
And they're always on the list, and for whatever reason, you don't seem to get them done, or don't whatever.
Don't want to get them done.
Right. So not only do you do those things, but you also do the things that they normally do, right? Mm-hmm. So that they don't have to do them. Right?
Yeah.
Little things like coming up behind them if they are washing dishes and give them a little hug.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Just do stuff out of the ordinary. They gave the example in there about the flowers and how, a lot of guys will think, oh, that's dumb because it's just a waste of money.
But yeah, flowers die, so why would I spend money on that?
I mean, my wife likes flowers, but she kind of thinks along the same lines too. It's like, it's kind of a waste of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Things that you can keep forever, those are more along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I do every once in a while is, and I do it, I make sure it's not on a holiday or a birthday. I do it on a just because and both of us look at it this way, is like, if you love somebody, you're going to do something for them no matter what day it is. Don't just do it on Valentine's Day because it's Valentine's Day and everybody else on the planet does it. Do those things every day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what love is. Maybe not every day of the week, but I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You don't have to be prompted by a calendar date.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just out of the blue, I'll send flowers or I'll send, usually it's balloons or something. I'll send a bouquet of balloons to her work.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I know from past experience that she enjoys that. And then the rest of the girls in the office, they're all jealous, saying, oh, I wish I had a guy that would do that for me.
Yeah.
Which makes her feel better and, kind of gives her a little...
it does. I've done that with Marcia at work.
That's romance.
And her coworker will go, wow, your husband really loves you. And that just makes her day. And then she tells me that her coworker said that. Now it's made my day. We've had a great day.
Right.
And it costs me very little. Sometimes because she knows how hard it is for me to walk through the courthouse because of my back and my disabilities and so forth physically. But I will push through and just show up and say, hey, honey, I just came by to say I love you. I mean, that means the world to her. And it didn't cost me a penny.
Right.
So you can do this stuff with, I mean, you don't have to be married. This may be a roommate. This may be a coworker. This may be somebody else that you value that is significant in your life, and you can make their day better. I like one of the things that Dr. Phil McGraw says about his wife, Robin. He says he wakes up every morning and he asks himself, what can I do today to make her life easier?
Yep.
Just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. And you can do that. You can do that with your sponsor. You can do it with your sponsee. You can do it with your best friend, a coworker. Yeah. You can do it with somebody you got a resentment towards. Wow, think about that.
That's how you change that, right? That's how you change
that
resentment or change that relationship, that maybe that negative relationship. But I mean those things are perfect. I mean, me and my wife have a great relationship now, and it gets better all the time. And there's little things like what you're talking about. I get up days that I don't even have to get up. Right? She works on the weekends now. Sometimes I'll get up and I'll make her breakfast.
Nice,
because she works these long shifts and she can't leave work. So if she doesn't eat something in the morning, she doesn't usually eat at all until she gets home. And then sometimes she'll get home at 8:00 at night. And even if I'm, I worked a 12-hour day and I'm dead tired, I try to make sure that there's something ready to go when she gets home to eat, because I know she's going to be hungry when she gets home.
Right.
And I know she kind of, it irritates her if I'm sitting there watching TV and she comes home from work and there's nothing to eat, and because
she's got to do more work.
She tells me by banging things around.
They do that very well. Well, honey, what's wrong? Absolutely nothing. If Marcia said this,
tired and I'm hungry.
She goes, I came to the realization that if I didn't do this, this, and this, it wouldn't get done. I said, what are you saying? And she goes, what are you hearing?
So maybe you should put that on your your honey-do list for the next time, right? One
of the things that I and we're out of time, but one of the things that I appreciated about some of the people that answered this question, what have you learned from your significant other while in recovery, was there seems to be a sense of wow, I really realized that they loved me unconditionally because I was a knucklehead.
Right. We need to honor that. If our significant other stuck around,
Right.
after putting up with all our shenanigans. We need to honor that and make sure that we take care of them and give them whatever they need to feel happy and feel good and feel loved.
Yeah.
You know, I just wanted to, the reading or this devotional that we got our topic out of today references 1 Peter 3:7, but it only gives the paraphrases like the first or second sentence out of there. And I just want to read this because I think it's important if we have time.
Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
So it says, this is the new, the NLT version. It says, in the same way, you husbands must give honor to your wives. Treat her with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner. When they say equal, they mean physically, not in any other way. Than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. And I liken that to, and this comes out of the Life Recovery Bible, so I look at it as referencing my new life and my
in your recovery
in Christ and all that. So she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. If you don't treat her as you should, your prayers will not be heard.
Wow. Think about
How's
that.
Right?
Think about that. Why aren't my prayers getting answered or even heard? Well, maybe the way you're treating other people has a lot to do with it.
That's right.
Our closing song is by my good friend, Denise Bridges. And she sent this to me the other day, and I thought, Dave's going to like this.
Any relation?
No.
To Bridges?
Hands across the bridges. Her band is called Child of Mercy. You can visit their website at childofmercy.com. Here's Denise with her rockin' song, Way, Truth, Life. Check it out.
Something I
That, my friends, is the rockin' music of Denise Bridges from Child of Mercy. Visit their website at childofmercy.com. Don't miss out. They got some great rockin' God music for you that is, well, it's going to enhance your recovery, I promise. Until next time, this is the Monty Man along with Dave Fleming, reminding you that you are entitled to overcome.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.